favorite characters on the show, and I love what they ended up doing and making Red the werewolf. So at the beginning of the show, you have certain ideas of who your character is and where she's going. How much of that matched up from to what actually the actual history is?
Well, I think we had a pretty good idea of who Ruby and Red were individually when the season started. Obviously, learning more about the story and her life has informed things as we've gone on, but I think the core of who she is has been consistent.
You look more like a Snow White to me. Did you raise with that part?
I didn't. That part was Jennifer's from the get-go. That was, I mean, who is more Snow White than her?
The Ruby that we met was very kind of confused and lost. Now that she knows her identity, how's that going to change her personality and sort of her drive?
Well, I think Ruby at the end of last season, you know, she was after Red-Handed, she was sort of kind of trying out being comfortable in her skin and what that meant. And I think now that we have magic and we have this duality of characters, everything is going to be different. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see sort of how that affects everything. I don't know, that'll be interesting.
So now that magic is back, should Ruby be worried when there's a full moon?
That is my biggest question. As I think it should be everybody's in storybooks as well. What's going to happen?
Did you have favorite fairy tales when you were growing up?
I did. I was a huge Little Mermaid fan. I was obsessed with Little Mermaid, and I was also a huge Peter Pan fan. But I love all things Disney and fairy tales, so I'm a pretty big fan of most of them.
So you're excited to see that Captain Hook is coming onto the show?
I just found that out when all of you did, and I was blown away. And I loved how they did it too, that he takes his hook, like I thought maybe it was going to just come down and he would have the hook on, but that he actually sticks his hand in and screws it on. How amazing was that?
So, did you have, now that, okay, the match is back to the story, are there any characters that you really wish are there that you get to interact with?
Characters that we've already met, maybe?
Or new ones?
New ones?
Besides Peter Pan.
Yes, I mean, I'm so excited to find out everyone that's coming. I think that's one of the things that makes the show so wonderful is how many fantasy characters are there in the world that, I mean, the show could go for 20 years. We'll all be in walkers, you know? I'll be a grey wolf.
Is there another character in Storybook that you'd like Ruby to hook up with?
In Storybook? I don't know. I don't know if we've met Ruby's future beau. But you never know. You never know.
None of the coffee customers.
No one has spoke to me yet, personally, and I haven't heard anything, but you never know.
What would you like to see for Ruby in the future?
Well, I mean, now that we have magic and Ruby and Red have sort of, you know, awareness of each other, I think just figuring out what that's going to mean for Storybook and what it's going to look like, I'm just really excited to explore that and find out what that's going to be and what they're going to write.
In the fairy tale world, your characters now have pretty close friendship. Does that mean maybe now Storybook we might be seeing more of the two of them together?
I mean, I would imagine so. I certainly hope so. I love Fred and Snow's relationship. It's one of my favorite things. I'm so glad that they wrote it the way that they did because I think it's so lovely and sweet, and I think it's such a nice foundation for them to have, and I would imagine that it would probably carry over if they have memory of each other.
Now that Ruby knows what she's capable of and who she's been, will she still be hanging around the diner, and how will her relationship with Granny change?
With Granny? Oh, that's a good question. I mean, I think it depends on how everything changes. Do you know what I mean? Everything is so interlinked at this moment, and we don't really know which way it's going to go. And again, with magic around, it's all bets are off.
Has the show affected your career? Did the amount of success the show? Were you able to book another project on her hiatus?
I actually went to theater school on my hiatus and studied Shakespeare. So I've been in sweatpants rolling around on the floor for the last month and a half. And I just got back last week and I'm here now and all dressed up. Thank you. And it's very fun and different. So yes.
We saw, in terms of Red's backstory, how she found out that she was a wolf. Is there another part of her history, like a specific part that you'd like to see?
In what sense do you mean?
Just in terms of like what more flashbacks that you'd like to happen for your character in the fairy tale world?
Well, I mean, that's one of the things that I'm most excited about being a regular now. Beyond, it's going to be really fun to be here all the time. I feel like there's so many questions that were left unanswered after Red Handed, and I really hope that, you know, we get to, I'm curious what happened after Snow takes me and we run off into the wilderness, and then you don't see us together again until much, much later. So what happened in that interim time, you know, from when that happened? I think that would be really interesting to see.
Thank you. Oh, thank you. Thanks.